So today I'm using two colours to paint this gorilla. I've got some burnt sienna and some indigo, which you might have seen in my previous video. I made a swatch. This time around I'm not going for a random approach, I'm being more deliberate and trying to mix colours that I actually need. I'm starting off with a grey colour, mid-grey, tending towards a blue, almost a turquoise in fact. Painting that in a medium tone onto the face. I'm just using a damp brush there to lift off the nose area. I want a nice highlight on the nose rather than negatively paint around it. Paint the whole thing and then lift it off with the brush. Get some touches of blue here and there to give myself some variation. I'm putting the ear in early on using a dark mix so that I don't lose it when I start putting all the washes on. And same with the brow. I'll mark the position of those two key areas. I'm going on to the chin area and the chest. Now I've got a dark mix here, it's almost a black. I'm going to lay down some of the pure indigo to start with. I'm going to drop the black into that. To mix the black you need the burnt sienna and a small amount of the indigo. The indigo is very powerful. Quite often when you first start mixing you'll find you just work back to indigo because it's so powerful. So you really need small amounts of the indigo with the sienna when you're mixing your own colours. So now that I've got that mixed together, I'm dropping it into the blue area, the wet area of the chest and the chin. And they do merge together, and that's okay. Sometimes you can just let the viewer separate those areas out for himself. He knows it's a chin and he knows it's a chest, and you don't have to separate them yourself. Let's just sprinkle on a couple of dots of the burnt sienna, and I did some of the dotted on some of the blue as well. It's effectively given us a reference, a reminder that our swatch today, our colour choice, is indigo and burnt sienna. Two colours, blue and orange. And with those two colours, we're mixing them together in different proportions and getting a whole range of tones and values. I'm carving out the face area now by painting around the light grey. And I'm putting some colour on the back of the beast. A mid blue, blue-grey. The brush is a little bit dry there, and it's going onto the dry paper. So getting a little bit of a dry brush effect. Now I'm putting the shoulder area in. So as before, starts off with a wet area and then drop in a very dark tone. Those two areas are going to blend together, the shoulder and the area around the shoulder, and that's fine because I don't want a sharp edge. This is a beast, it's a natural thing, there's very few sharp edges on the living things, so getting some fuzziness is good. And the process is to slowly build these colours up, and as you can see I'm not waiting in between for layers to dry. I tend to paint one area of the painting and then let it dry a bit and move on to another area and then come back. Keep moving back and forth between the different areas. There's a little bit of dry brushing coming on there. Almost get a fair effect if you want to paint them on by dry brushing. I find wetting wet and letting the colours blend together is better. And just to help that, I'm going to spritz here with my water bottle. I'm protecting the face because I don't want all the details in the face to be blended. Trying to pull out a little highlight there of the shoulder, just to give more weight to the top of the shoulder. Now I've switched to a rigger brush and I am painting in the eyes. Again, I've mixed the dark value. I mean, it is definitely a black. It's blacker than most blacks you can buy. And it's a question of very carefully checking your reference and trying to copy where the dark tones of the reference are. So notice that I left a little circle of white to start with. That's the highlight in the eye. And then I'm going with some blue above the eye line, above the eyes rather. That's the start of the brow. I'm putting in some more blue details onto the face. So this is painting wet onto dry. Now let's have a look at how I paint them off. Notice that the line gets thicker as we move along. That's achieved by pressing down a little bit with the brush. So you can get different thicknesses of your line by varying the pressure that you apply. Obviously that's something that takes practice. I'm going to do it again. Switching to the side of the brush a little bit to apply a thicker line. I tend to work on the principle that the fewer strokes that you apply, the fresher the painting will be in the end. So I always try to apply one stroke rather than three, for example. Now I decided I needed some wrinkles and I tried to paint them on at first, and then I remembered that it's probably easier to do this. Scratch some lines in with a sharp object. That's a cocktail stick you could use. The other end of your brush, if it's sharp enough for a fingernail, anything with a little point on it. And the pigment runs into the indentations that you've made and you get some nice dark lines. That's an easy way of painting dark lines. Now I'm doing the opposite and I'm lightening one area with the damp brush above the brow to give myself a ridge. And I'm lightening the back as well to give myself some light on the back of the beast and maybe the silvery colour that you get on the back of mature males. We're getting towards the end now. I'm just working through the final details. Decided we need some more emphasis on the shoulder and some dark areas around the side of the head. Paint a few final details on the face as well. I mean, again, this is all by referencing my photo that's in front of me. So dropping in, starting off with lights, working across to mid-tones, and then finally working in the final dark areas. We just need to fill in the ear. Take away the white there. If you remember, I put that on very dark at the beginning so I didn't lose the position of it. I'm using the side of the brush there to pick up some highlights on the brow and then put a mid-tone of grey onto the ear area. And that's it, that's the painting just about finished. A few extra darks here and there and we're done. Dry brush in the very end to get a little bit of fur texture. That's the gorilla finished. Thanks for watching, and here's another video that you might enjoy.